Hello, my name is Ruby Alas Cruz. I am the owner and founder of Sueños Buenos in South Nashville. Um, Born in LA, but raised in Nashville with parents who are immigrants from Mexico and El Salvador. Um, my life here in Nashville has been quite the journey. Growing up with immigrant parents, of course, has been something different. Navigating different worlds is what it feels like, but as a child, you don't realize that until you have to go to a doctor's appointment and you're asking yourself, why am I 7 translating for my mother that does not speak English? Having to learn big doctor terminology that you have no idea what it means in order for your mom or your dad to understand was really shocking. It's a shocking experience when you go to school and you ask your other friends if they do the same thing, and some of them say no. So trying to learn that, and then as getting older, realizing what you were doing wasn't what every other kid was doing either was also shocking in a way. But it was also a beautiful experience that I now carry with me because at the age of 7, I was translating and doing all these things when no one else was, and it just makes me feel like I was there for my mom when she needed me, even though some people probably look at it as like your mom shouldn't have had you at these appointments translating, but I think it's a beautiful experience. Now, as I'm older and I have my own store, what I try to do is bring community together and try to have a safe space for us here in Nashville where we feel seen and rooted and always remember where we come from. Being a first gen Latina was also a experience here in Nashville because although our parents came to the US to give us a better future, they didn't know exactly what they were doing, right? Of course, as far as like sending us to school, they didn't realize how hard and difficult school was. Going when I was in elementary school, my first language is Spanish, so I didn't know any English whatsoever. So I was automatically put in ELL, like no questions asked. I think that was one of the things that I didn't realize until I got older. What these classes were and why were there so many brown kids in these classes and why we were all together. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I thought we were all in community, so it was so fun. Um, it's not till I got to high school that I started to realize the difference between like being in ELL class and then asking my parents questions about college and they have no idea. I think one of the hardest things for me that I had to go through as a first gen was navigating the transition from high school to college because yes, I did want to go to college, but I didn't have the resources, nor the knowledge, nor the connections, or anything like that. And then when I would ask my parents, of course they didn't know. Um, it's not until I had a friend who walked me through the whole process of FAFSA, who introduced me to college and introduced me to community college, which I went to Nashville State Community College and I got my associate's degree there. But I don't think I would have been able to have done all of this if it wasn't for my friend Edsel. Just because when I had all these questions, no one else was there. And then, like, being first gen is like you have to figure this out on your own. You have to make sure that you are knowledgeable. You are the one that has all the resources. You're the one that's going to be educating your younger siblings because that's how I felt. I think that when I had the knowledge of like, okay, I know what a FAFSA is. I know how to apply for college. I know how to do all these things. I was able to pass down this knowledge to my siblings. So that was one of the hardest things as a first gen, I think, just being able to find the resources. And although like our parents came here to give us a better future, they didn't have much of the resources. So I graduated from Nashville State Community College with an associate's degree because I was shooting to be a social worker to help kids that have been in and out of the system. I wanted to work for the juvenile center just because I feel like those kids need the most love, and I think sometimes people that work there in those facilities don't show them the love that they need, but I'm pretty sure there are people there that do. So that's what I was aiming for, but I became a mommy, and so it shifted me to, instead of like being a social worker, because I knew that I was going to take all those emotions back home, and then being a mom, it was just a lot. So I did not go for like a master's or bachelor's in that, but I do feel like I use my associate's degree in psychology and sociology now, with what I have. So fast forward a few years later, I opened up my store called Sueños Buenos, which we are located in South Nashville, where I feel like it's where our community is, where you can find every type of food, all types of people. It's so fun here. I grew up in this area, so I'm so blessed to be able to have my store here in South Nashville. Um, Now that I think about it, it's like, no, I didn't go back to school to get my social work degree, but what I do here is I bring in community. I do events. I have one-on-one talks with. Now that I don't like to call people my clients or my customers, because I do feel like everyone that steps into my store is more like a family, because we do get to know each other. We do get to have one-on-ones. We do cry in here. We laugh, we do all these things. So everything goes back to being rooted into like, no, I didn't get my social work degree, but I still use the resources that I have now. And I do feel like I'm still passionate about that, and I bring that into the store just because we have all these things going on at all times. So that is pretty much what Sueños is. Of course, we sell clothing here, shoes, all types of things, but my main focus is bringing our community together during really, really hard times, or just hosting events and doing things that would bring us together and have some fun.